Hi, welcome back to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie. I'm your guide into the world of Chinese. What we do here is we're going to review what we covered before, and then I'm going to continue sharing a little bit more once a day. And recently I have been covering some essential concepts in Chinese philosophy, which is Taoism, and its derivative of 八卦, like comes to 8 and eventually 84. That's how Chinese conceptualize how things are working in the world, in the universe, basically, is the ancient philosophy of simplifying all the complexities in the world into 64 or 8 and eventually only 2 elements. Now, 师道寡助. So we have 得道多助, which is if you're going to get on the right way or the moral way, you're going to get more support. And on the contrary, if you're losing it, if you're not get on the right way, you're not following the Tao, you're going to have less support. Simple like that, right? So it's kind of a checkpoint for individuals in Chinese. Whenever they are doing something, they try to figure if they are following the Tao or not. And then they can foresee the consequences. Okay, so today's concept is 寡义廉耻. So we continue with the word 寡. And then here I threw out 3 essential moral pillars, the values, the virtues that Chinese value very much, hold dear to their heart, but we have a negation in the front. 寡 means little, right? So if you're going to lose your way, you're going to have less support. That's a negation. So less support is, the minus over there, right? And here is minus everything else. Little. So we have that. E. Okay, this one looks easy, right? It's just a cross with a dot in the middle, but this is one of those easy looking, harmless word, but hold big concepts. Me as a Chinese, I have to resort to books or online resources. I mean, I have to do my research to see, exactly where that word came into being, exactly what that means, because I have to come to the origin of the word, the character, to understand what exactly that means. So this is the origin. The top is the sheep. It looks like a sheep, right? With the horns like that and with the furs spreading out. Sheep. I think that the image of sheep in the West and East, the same. It means innocence or defenseless, the most harmless being on the planet. It's a good symbol, right? It's often made as a sacrifice to God. So at the bottom, we have 我, which is referral of self. But it turned out the original meaning of 我 is a weapon. Look, this shape at the bottom with a lot of pokey things directing outward. So it's like aggressive attacking, right? I don't know how the weapon became self-referral, like 我 is originally a weapon. But we have this concept of self below the sheep. Together, that means you're sacrificing yourself. Self-sacrifice. That's the origin of E. And eventually we simplify it to this looking. That has nothing to do with the origin of the word. It's a just simplification symbol. But originally it means self-sacrifice. That's the virtual, I put it here. 廉. This word, man, look at this word. It got many strokes, right? I don't even know how to break it down for you, but okay, this structure, the half frame with a dot on the top, that means something related to architecture, shelter, housing, right? And the middle part is a sound maker. So we have some kind of housing here. It turned out this is housing in the old times construction or structure layout of housing. Is like we have the center, like a sun facing or whatever facing, like we consider it the middle one. So that's one type of housing. And then we have the side housing. On the side, it's not facing the right, the center direction, the correct direction, but it's sideways, to save space, I guess, that you cannot spread out too wide. You have to have the center one, and then you have the side ones, and this is the side one. And because it's on the side, it's not self-centered, right? It's not self-important, but it also came from the way that it means it's perpendicular to the center one. Perpendicular means it's kind of like that. And with that concept of being perpendicular, being 90-degree angle, that means this is someone have principle, have a clear cut of things. So now I'm thinking about, okay, why straight corners means having principle? It turns out I can find this answer in statistics because I spent the last few years learning that. So in statistics, when we are determining if something is going to be 0 or 1, like binary bucketing something, in machine learning, one of the main kind of like a gateways, like how you are going to, after you got all that values, attributes, how are you going to convert, big complicated numbers, shrink it down to either 0 or 1 prediction? There is a thing called soft max, which shaped like an S curve. So the bottom is 0, means negative. The top is 1, means positive. So like yin yang, right? That's soft curve. Things are changing along the line, and there are different angles over there. That soft curved is the opposite of this straight 90-degree angle thing, because the soft curve is anywhere along the line. There's a certain value, and it's not like absolute. It's like you are 0.55 or you're 0.75 of something. So there's a probability of there is like a error term over there that's like agreeing things are not absolute, not 100. So in that kind of prediction situation, very rarely things are 1 or 0. It's always somewhere between 1 and 0. But here it's like either this way or that way. It's super binary, super straight cornered. And with that image applied to human behaviors, it means somebody is very strictly following some principles. There are no exceptions. They're not going to break the rule they set themselves. I mean, they may not be the rule setter. They could be just following the rules passed down to them. But anyways, they're guiding principles for them and to follow. It's non-breakable, non-negotiable. So that's what we mean here by 廉耻. Okay, so this word again experienced a transformation that just by looking at the shape of the current modern version of the word, it doesn't make sense. But if we look at the original image of the word, it starts to make sense. So if you're following my videos, in a few episodes away, we talk about hearts, a lot of heart images. There are different renderings of hearts, right? So this is one way of ancient way to write heart. So actually this is a transformed writing of this heart symbol. So this is something related to heart. And the left side pronounced as ears, but somehow it's a sound maker to 吃. So, they're disconnect. And that happened because things evolved and we lost track of that and things may just flipped. Language is really a living thing and it's complicated. We cannot just predict, strictly 0 or 1, right? So 耻 simply means something relate to heart, the sense of guilt or sense of shame. So if somebody have the spirit of self-sacrifice and holding to firm on their principles that unbreakable, and have the self-reflective virtue of self-check, if they are going, because this sense of shame is important in that they're going to practice the same principle with or without the presence of another person. We call it a 慎独. So it's like when you are just by yourself, how you're going to behave. You're not doing it for somebody else. You're doing it for yourself because you have principles. So all this 义廉耻 are the essential 3 values of behavior, values of people back then. And we add a negation on top of that, simply means, this is our moral label of these people are below the bar. Like we have the 3 great virtues and they are just lacking them. So simply immoral. Now you know each one, what exactly kind of virtue that is, right? And altogether, that means they're lacking that. So immoral. On the right side, I put on this old man looking image because earlier I said most likely some wise old man, like 5,000 years ago. Laozi probably like 4,000. I'm not exactly sure, but old wise man that came up with this book that talked about Dao, right? Tao. 德, you see the heart here. We're going to talk in more details about that word. Simply means moral. So this is 道德. So it means the moral way. 经 is the Bible, or the classical, or the essential sacred scripts, like the books about like systematically describing his system of looking at things. So Laozi here is this old wise man, and Taoism is the Tao. So this is the book in Chinese. That's how it looks. It's the Bible, kind of the guideline for Chinese in the old times to follow the right way. So they are, you're in sync, in harmony with the world around you. You're on the right way, and you're going to get more support. You're more likely to be a, contributing member of the society. You're good for the world and for yourself. Of course, it's mutually, and try to steer away from this immoral 寡义廉耻 situation because you haven't read his book. So his book is about to break down things for you, as a guideline for you. So another great masterpiece and a great thinker in Chinese history right in front of you. Hope you enjoyed today's show, and see you again next time.